In the aftermath of World War II, as the world reeled from the horrors of the Nazi regime and the devastation of global conflict, a secret initiative was quietly unfolding within the United States military and intelligence apparatus. Known as Operation Paperclip, this covert program aimed to recruit and relocate hundreds of German scientists, engineers, and technicians, of whom had direct ties to the Nazi Party and its war crimes, into the heart of American scientific and military research. The rationale was strategic: to harness the technological expertise of these individuals before the Soviet Union could do the same. But beneath this pragmatic veneer lay a troubling ethical compromise, one that would shape the trajectory of the Cold War and raise enduring questions about justice, accountability, and the moral boundaries of national interest. Operation Paperclip was officially approved in 1946 under a directive from President Harry S. Truman. The program was administered by the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, JIOA, a branch of the U.S. Army tasked with identifying and extracting valuable scientific personnel from the ruins of Nazi Germany. The name Paperclip derived from the practice of attaching paperclips to the files of scientists deemed useful, even if their records included affiliations with the SS or involvement in war crimes. While Truman had stipulated that no active Nazis were to be brought to the United States, this condition was routinely circumvented. Backgrounds were sanitized, affiliations were downplayed, and dossiers were rewritten to facilitate the transfer of individuals whose expertise was considered indispensable. Among the most prominent recruits was Wernher von Braun, a rocket scientist who had led the development of the V-2 missile, a weapon that had terrorized London and other Allied cities. Von Braun and his team were instrumental in advancing Nazi Germany's missile program, and their work had been conducted using forced labor from concentration camps. Despite this, von Braun was embraced by the U.S. government and eventually became a central figure in the American space program, culminating in his leadership role at NASA and his contributions to the Apollo missions. His transformation from Nazi engineer to American hero exemplifies the moral ambiguity at the heart of Operation Paperclip. The scope of the program extended far beyond rocketry. Scientists specializing in aeronautics, chemical and biological warfare, medicine, and synthetic materials were also recruited. Otto Ambros, another key figure, had been involved in the development of nerve agents and had overseen chemical production at Auschwitz. He was convicted at the Nuremberg trials, but later released and brought to the United States under the auspices of Paperclip. His expertise in synthetic rubber and chemical engineering was deemed too valuable to ignore. The inclusion of such individuals, despite their documented involvement in atrocities, underscores the extent to which ethical considerations were subordinated to strategic impact. The secrecy surrounding Operation Paperclip was meticulous. Publicly, the program was framed as a benign effort to bolster American scientific capabilities. Internally, however, officials were acutely aware of the moral compromises being made. Documents reveal that intelligence officers were instructed to obscure Nazi affiliations of recruits and to avoid any public disclosure that might provoke outrage or scrutiny. This deliberate obfuscation extended to congressional oversight, which was minimal, and to the media, which remained largely unaware of the program's true nature for decades. The rationale for Operation Paperclip was rooted in the emerging geopolitical landscape of the Cold War. As tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union escalated, the race for technological superiority became paramount. The Soviet Union was conducting its own recruitment efforts, notably through Operation Sovietium, which relocated thousands of German specialists to Soviet territory. In this context, the U.S. viewed the acquisition of German expertise not only as a means of advancing its own capabilities, but also as a way of denying those resources to its adversary. The logic was clear. Better to have these scientists working for America than against it. Yet this logic came at a cost. The integration of former Nazis into American institutions challenged the moral foundations of post-war justice. The Nuremberg trials had established a precedent for accountability, affirming that individuals could not escape responsibility for crimes committed under the guise of obedience or national service. Operation Paperclip, by contrast, offered a form of amnesty to those whose skills were deemed valuable. It created a parallel narrative in which utility trumped culpability, and in which the pursuit of national interests justified the erasure of inconvenient truths. The long-term impact of Operation Paperclip was profound. The scientific contributions of its recruits accelerated advancements in aerospace, medicine, and military technology. Von Braun's work, laid the foundation for intercontinental ballistic missiles and space exploration. Ambrose's chemical expertise influenced pharmaceutical development and industrial processes. These achievements, however, were built on a foundation of moral compromise. The legacy of Paperclip is thus dual: a testament to scientific progress and a cautionary tale about the dangers of expediency. In recent decades, the veil of secrecy surrounding Operation Paperclip has been lifted through declassified documents, investigative journalism, and scholarly research. Works such as Annie Jacobsen's Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America, have illuminated the program's scope and implications. These revelations have prompted renewed debate about the ethical boundaries of intelligence operations and the responsibilities of democratic societies to confront uncomfortable truths. They've also raised questions about the extent to which historical memory can be shaped or distorted by state interests. One of the enduring questions posed by Operation Paperclip is whether the ends can ever justify the means. Can the pursuit of technological advancement and national security legitimize the assimilation of individuals implicated in crimes against humanity? This question is not merely historical, it resonates in contemporary debates about the use of torture, surveillance, and other controversial practices in the name of security. Paperclip serves as a reminder that the calculus of power often involves trade-offs that challenge the very principles it seeks to defend. The program also highlights the role of narrative in shaping public perception. The transformation of figures like von Braun from Nazi engineers to American icons was facilitated by a deliberate rebranding, one that emphasized their contributions while minimizing their pasts. This narrative was reinforced through media, education, and institutional recognition. It illustrates how history can be curated to serve present needs and how collective memory can be molded by omission as much as by inclusion. Operation Paperclip further underscores the importance of transparency and accountability in democratic governance. The program operated in secrecy, shielded from public scrutiny and ethical oversight. Its existence was concealed not because of national security risks, but because of the moral discomfort it engendered. The eventual disclosure of its details was not the result of institutional initiative, but of persistent inquiry and advocacy. This pattern reflects a broader tension between the imperatives of statecraft and the demands of democratic accountability. The ethical dilemmas posed by Operation Paperclip are compounded by the personal stories of its participants. Many of the scientists recruited under the program were not merely passive functionaries, they were active contributors to the Nazi war machine. Their work facilitated the development of weapons, the exploitation of forced labor, and the execution of genocidal policies. The decision to integrate these individuals into American society, often with generous salaries and prestigious positions, raises profound questions about justice and reconciliation. At the same time, the program reveals the complexities of human agency and the ambiguities of moral judgment. Some recruits expressed remorse. Others remained unapologetic. Some contributed to peaceful scientific endeavors. Others continued to work on military applications. The diversity of these trajectories challenges simplistic categorizations and invites a more nuanced understanding of complicity, redemption, and the capacity for change. Operation Paperclip also invites reflection on the broader dynamics of post-war reconstruction and the role of science in shaping geopolitical power. The program was part of a larger effort to rebuild and reorient global alliances, to harness knowledge for strategic advantage, and to redefine the boundaries of ethical conduct in the face of existential threats. It exemplifies the intersection of science, politics, and morality, and the ways in which these domains can both illuminate and obscure one another. In the final analysis, Operation Paperclip stands as a paradox. It was a triumph of strategic foresight and a failure of moral courage. It advanced American scientific capabilities while compromising its ethical foundations. It protected national interests while betraying the principles of justice and accountability. Its legacy is not easily reconciled, and its lessons are not easily absorbed. But it remains a vital chapter in the history of American intelligence and a sobering reminder of the costs of secrecy and the perils of expediency as the world continues to grapple with the challenges of technological advancement, geopolitical competition, and ethical governance. The story of Operation Paperclip offers a lens through which to examine the choices we make and the values we uphold. It calls us to confront the uncomfortable truths of our past, to question the narratives we inherit, and to strive for a future in which progress is not purchased at the expense of principle. In doing so, it affirms the enduring relevance of history as a guide, a warning, and a source of wisdom.